It's Operation Babble with Myke Shrews. It's pop culture, music, movies, TV too. It's time to explore life. It's Operation Babble time.
I got a head. It's built next to my head. I don't even. Nope, I'm lost now. Already lost. Already lost.
That was horrible.
I know. I was gonna go and nope. We're done. We're done with that joke. That was not a good joke. Welcome back to Operation Babble. I am Myke Shrews again. With me today I have Tivis, of course. Tivis, say hi.
Hi.
All right. How you doing?
Better than last week.
Awesome. And then we also have a guest with us. Austin Mosher returns. Austin, how you doing today?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Tired.
Yeah, same.
Tired.
What's up,
I'm
Mosher?
broken.
What's up, Tivis?
Been a while.
I know.
He's been on here in
I don't think I've ever been on
With-
Operation Babble with Tivis before. So I think this is
No.
this is our first episode with him. So
Okay. All right. Well, I know
We
you
went
were on
to
back.
high school together, everyone.
Well, geez. I now I feel left out. I mean,
You should.
it's fine. I went to elementary school with him, so haha.
Ha! Mike's known me longer.
Can you guys hear my cat meowing like she's dying?
No.
Yeah, she's dying. So that's something that's been going on for a couple weeks now in my house.
Is your cat literally dying or is it?
Yeah, she's getting very old and senile, so we think that she's getting ready to go. She keeps trying to go outside, which is usually generally the sign of them wanting to get the fuck out so they can go die by themselves, basically. Cats are weird. That's morbid, but cats are weird. Yeah. So as long as the director of Sword doesn't take her and dissect her for some random reason, we're good. Which leads us into our episode today, I guess. We're going to be talking about WandaVision episode 8, is it? I believe.
Yeah, I think that last one was 8.
Which also
Previously on.
before we dive into that, since we haven't heard any of your thoughts before, Austin, of the previous 7, what did you think? Because I know when I watched the first 2 episodes, I was like, oh fuck, Austin needs to watch this. I think he would really love it. Just from the 2 episodes, because I thought that was like the best.
Yeah, I really like it. I like it a lot more than I thought I would, because I had not really intended on really even watching it.
Yeah,
because I was kind of Marvel burned out after Endgame. I just didn't. Maybe that was a blessing that COVID happened, because nothing was released, and so. But I don't know. I enjoyed the weird narrative structure of it. It didn't feel like Marvel normally, because it was. I mean, we're still kind of figuring out what is happening, and which is unusual because it's usually very on the nose Marvel storytelling. It's very like, this guy's bad, this guy's good. Yeah. They fight, the good guy wins. That's it. But like, we're still kind of unraveling the pieces of this story, and it's kind of it's coming together. But
I have a question.
I still think it's more. What's up?
Did you watch Legion at all? Because I saw people comparing this to Legion.
I didn't watch Legion. No,
okay. I still haven't even watched Legion. Legion is a X-Men world film or TV show. Sorry, which is based about Xavier's son, Legion. So,
okay. I remember when it was
psychedelic. I heard.
I remember when it was on. I think it was on FX or something, and I remember seeing. I remember seeing ads for it. Probably when I was watching like Sons of Anarchy or something like that, but I'd never watched it.
Yeah, I was just curious. Out of all of us, I figured you would be the one most likely, because it was a weird show.
like
all of us.
weird...
I feel I would have watched it.
I do like weird shows though. I mean, I have my Twin Peaks tattoo, and
yeah, that's why.
Well, that just means you like dumb stuff. No.
Hey,
attack the guest. All right, so you've enjoyed it up to this point so far.
Yeah. Yeah, I have.
What did you think though about them like starting to do a reveal so early? Because I know like episode 3 was the last one where we're kind of confused still, and then after that they start just dumping everything.
I think that they did a good job of it where they did reveals, but it's not like full reveal. Yeah. Like when I got to that episode, I thought, oh, I wish they would have kept that like confusing nature a little bit longer. But then as I kept watching, it's just like, oh, they haven't actually revealed everything. You know, they just revealed Agatha like 2 episodes ago, and so it's like, okay, they're still unraveling this, and then we find out that the sword guy, I forget his name,
we just call him like the director or something, I think it is.
He's the he's like
Tyler Hayward.
Yeah,
he messed with video to make Wanda look like the bad guy, and so it's still captivating. I'm still interested, and there's still I don't know a lot about the comics and stuff like that, but I've read stuff since then, or it's like what this could be leading to and for the MCU, and I thought it's an interesting direction.
Which I think sometimes it's nice to not have the comic knowledge too, because then all the little things like Agatha's little brooch thing. Well, like it had her symbol on it, and if you knew her from the comics, you would have been able to see that. Like, because I think a bunch of people called it out in episode 3, I think it was, where they showed it the first time. So, and then of course you put together Agnes, Agatha, Harkness, blah blah blah. Oh my God, Marvel, you're so funny. Ha 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 ha.
See, and I didn't catch any of that because I had never heard of Agatha Harkness.
Right, a lot of people haven't.
As soon as they like played that song at the end of that episode, and it was like that theme song that went through like the decades of, and I was like immediately Googled Agatha Harkness. Like, who the hell is Agatha Harkness?
I got a fun fact for you, Mosher, since you're a fellow Whovian. Moffat took Jack Harkness's last name from the character.
I was wondering, because I was just talking to a coworker about Doctor Who yesterday, and we were talking about Torchwood, and when I said Jack Harkness, the thought had actually crossed my mind whether or not they were related, because Harkness is a very strange last name, and that's interesting.
Yeah, I guess he was captivated enough by it that he just borrowed it.
Hey, stealing is good, I guess.
It's what Hollywood does best. Anyways, so it's good to know where your thoughts are leading up to this episode. So this episode 8, is basically even more of an information dump, but we finally get to see like the cause or creation of everything. So
they do get a little bit expository at points where I'm like, all right, they're just spewing info here, and I don't like that. But
I feel this show might be really good to just watch back to back, because they're only half-hour episodes, which really pisses me off. So I'm hoping,
last one was 46 minutes.
The last one was 46, but with credits, which is like 10 minutes of credits. So fuck off with that, Tivis. Come on. But I really hope like the last episode, next week's episode, is like an hour and a half or something. It would be a good.
I think it might be, because this is building to a head, and I think if it was just another half an hour thing, I think it wouldn't be enough to wrap up this story, because I don't think this is going to be a multi-season show.
It's not. It's supposed to be one season and done. Which I think Loki is supposed to be the same way. I think all the Marvel shows are like one and done almost. unless they find a way to redo. Like you can't redo WandaVision at the end of this, honestly.
No, there's no way, because you can't have another scenario like this.
Right. And I really feel that they're just going to end up killing Vision off again. They'll probably kill everybody by the end of this episode, because it's supposed to end tragically. So,
well, that's
see.
what everyone suspects. There's been no official, much like the last 3 episodes being an hour long. There's no official word.
Yeah. It's interesting to see where they take it. But with this episode, there's really not a lot to dive into, because it is just an information dump of like, here's it. Okay, so they start the episode off back in the witch's den or circle or whatever the hell she called it again. And then she basically ends up taking Wanda through her life, kind of like a almost a what is it, a Christmas Carol type thing, almost. Is that
It's a Wonderful Life. It would be
okay. Wonderful Life. There we go. That's a better.
Well, I mean, you get the past, present, and future type, ghosts and stuff. I
like how they did that part, actually.
Yeah.
The because it's Agatha trying to figure out what happened,
right?
So I do like that they finally used the Scarlet Witch name for Wanda.
Yeah.
I mean, that was because I was wondering why they had never. She's like the only character they didn't ever like say her like character name.
Well, they never called Pietro Quicksilver either.
But he was also dead immediately. So.
He's like, oh fuck him, he's dead. It doesn't matter.
I always forget Quicksilver was even in the Marvel movies because I didn't like Ultron that much.
Yeah.
So I forgot he was a thing until these when we get into the Wanda stuff here.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I guess that was a character.
It was really neat to see some of these past events that
heard about.
Yeah, they talked about them, but we didn't actually see them before, so we get like fresh perspective.
Most of them were events from Ultron too. Like her getting her powers, we kind of hear about it in Ultron. I think we see it before that at like a mid-credit scene.
Shoot, what was it? I think it might have been Winter Soldier.
Well, let's start from the first one, because she does go and she basically goes back to where her parents get killed. In that time zone as her as a kid, which is 1999, I will say. And so she's like in her 30s now, which I mean, I guess that's about her age in real life too, which makes sense.
Well, minus 5 years.
What?
Because she got snapped.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, yeah. Well, no, that's still our time. It's still our time. They're in the future from us, but they're in the future from us. Their time zone is in the future from us, so they're 5 years ahead of us. So I'm going by our dates.
Well, 2 years now.
Yeah, whatever. And we get this opening scene, and the first thing I thought, because her dad shows the briefcase of DVDs, and they have Malcolm in the Middle in there. Malcolm in the Middle didn't even come out till 2000.
January.
And the DVDs didn't get released till 2002. So I instantly called bullshit on that.
I did think that was weird, because it was with like I Love Lucy and Dick Van Dyke and stuff like that. And I was like, that's not really in that group at all.
Right.
Yeah. That Dick Van Dyke box set came out in 2005. Just, and probably some more people nitpick that.
Well, yeah. But I mean, we can get past that. But the thing I can't get past is these are DVDs in 1999. Who has that many box set DVDs in 1999? They didn't really.
Not many people.
Yeah, not many people.
People were still buying mainly VHS at that point.
Because like, especially in the foreign country too, I'd be like, these be more bootleg DVDs, if anything.
Yeah.
But again, I can get past that even.
I had a question for you guys.
Okay, go on.
Are these all properties that Disney now owns?
I think so. A lot of them were Fox stuff.
Yeah, because I know Malcolm was Fox, so I didn't know who owned the other ones.
And they had that episode that was Malcolm in the Middle, like ripoff. So
these were all all of these.
Oh, I know they were.
Yeah.
I'm aware of the illusions,
but I could get past all that. I can even get past the TV still working after the bomb goes off. What I cannot get past is we blatantly see her father put in a DVD. How the hell is that DVD still playing after the DVD player probably got pulled off the shelf and everything?
Especially a very early model.
Yeah. That DVD should have been wiggling all over in that DVD player. That's my only complaint. Just saying. We're going to nitpick. We're going to nitpick. Marvel doesn't get off that easy. Come on.
I feel like when you show kids DVDs anymore, they're just like, oh yeah, that's something that totally existed in 1999, because DVDs are kind of archaic at this point.
Yeah. At least they didn't try and put in like a Modern Family DVD in that box thing. I'd be like, what? Where did that come from? 1999? Oh, geez. Anyways.
At least it did something to explain why everything was a sitcom.
Oh yeah, they were purposely doing it, but I think that was a push. I mean, it was
definitely a stretch.
Yeah.
It's a happy place.
What's that?
And I understand that, but like he's like a door-to-door DVD salesman. Was that a job? I don't know.
Foreign countries, who knows? We don't. I mean, that's the thing. But DVDs,
please buy this DVD from America sitcom. Like what?
Right.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be implied that foreign entertainment is not allowed. So he's like doing a black market type thing.
Yeah.
I didn't get the black market nature of it. I just thought it was just like in a
you can
Pursuit of Happiness, that Will Smith movie, when he's like trying to sell those bone marrow whatever scanners or whatever they were, and couldn't sell them. That's kind of the way I took it, is where he was selling something that nobody wanted. But in 1999, I feel like DVDs would have been amazing.
You did have the shot where he moves something and grabs the box set out of the hole in their wall.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Like a safe behind the picture or something.
Well, it's just kind of like how they would hide like stuff like journals or books and shit like that if Nazis were in rule or something.
But it was only Dick Van Dyke got the hide treatment, because Dick Van Dyke is that's some high commodity black market stuff there.
Well, maybe the rest of them are supposed to go in the wall. He just takes them out to try and sell them and shit like that.
Yeah, that's the one he's not selling because she likes it so much.
Yeah, I would go with that one.
I like that. I like the idea better that Dick Van Dyke Show is like some black tar sitcom.
It's so white bread that it's illegal there. Shit. No. What I really liked about this whole sequence, though, is we kind of get to see the story, the plot that she explains to Tony Stark about watching his name, his bomb, for 2 days or 3 days. I forget what it was. Which I think she explains that in Ultron. She does like a really deep story about like her parents got killed, and she's explaining how her and her brother had to hide underneath there, just staring at his name basically the whole time.
We did skip over.
What's that?
Oh, you go ahead and finish your thought,
I
but
was
we
gonna
did
say-
skip over some stuff.
Okay, but I do feel that it's kind of a detriment to that scene in that film because it felt a lot more impactful just with my own imagination on it. But now seeing it, it didn't hit as hard as I thought it hit from that original story being told. So that's just for me. I don't know. Maybe you guys.
I mean,
thought it was better.
there's always, I didn't remember, like it's been, I don't think I've seen Ultron since theaters, so I don't remember it super well. So I didn't remember that story being told.
Right.
But I think in general, the imagination is always better than what you've shown.
Yeah.
So like when you hear a story like that, you imagine like two kids sitting there watching a bomb for 2 days, and it's a lot more like visceral in your head than and a lot more visceral than Disney is ever going to show.
Yeah.
So
I felt it should have been a little more grittier, not so shiny and all the, there should have been more smoke in the room too, and a lot of stuff. The kids should have had some freaking bruises and cuts on them, maybe even, because you do see them fly forward, but there's like nothing wrong with them. So.
Yeah, I did like the explanation though, the probability hex, because that is her in the comics. Her mutant power is manipulating probability.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, because they basically say she had the powers before.
That's what they're hinting at
and shit. So
which the part we skipped over was confirming what she does is a form of magic, because when she's in Agatha's sanctuary, the runes keep her from attacking Agatha.
Yeah.
And she's going through like all the different spells. She's like, these are complicated and hard to do, and you do them much better than anyone I have ever seen who study them for decades.
Yeah. Which they also dated Agatha to getting her dark powers or whatever her main powers.
1693.
1693. Yeah.
I really liked that opening sequence with Agatha, really cool. Like the Salem witch trial thing.
But reverse, because you think that they're taking her there because she's a witch, but there's
other witches.
Yeah, it's other witches and shit.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool, and I liked the whole effect of her like draining the other witches of their powers, and I thought that was cool. So
yeah.
So I'm curious if by the end of this they're gonna make her look like an old lady, because in the comics she is older. But I think this actress is really good for this role, and I would not want to see them change her out, unless they put a bunch of makeup on her. But then I think we would lose a lot of her emoting.
I think they're gonna just keep her as this.
If they don't get rid of her, of course. So,
but Marvel has a way of just killing off cool villains after like an appearance. So
see, that's the thing though, is Agatha, from how they're describing her over the last 2 episodes, besides killing the dog, she's not really a villain. Like, she's just trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah, and we get that towards the end. She's basically like us, except more malicious and directly involved.
Because like everything she did, she even said it was basically like even the fake Pietro thing, like
Pietro. I forget what she calls him.
Pietro, I think it was fake Pietro. Like even with that, it's like she was controlling him to try and figure out how the hell all this was happening. Like, because she says he was my eyes and ears, basically, and my voice or some shit like that. Eyes,
ears,
doesn't
say where she got him. So,
I'm still curious, because that could be a major way that they could bring X-Men characters into this universe, because he obviously is the Quicksilver from X-Men, but I was feeling that it's just going to be like a weird little Easter egg, like, haha, I remember him from the other thing.
Evan Peters is so good, man. I love him as an actor. especially after watching him all the seasons of American Horror Story. I know his range and shit. So
go back and watch some of his interviews during Dark Phoenix, because he was under contract for this show back then. So they're asking him, you're like, will we see in the future? And you could just see like the same antsy, like body reactions that Tom Holland gives when he's not allowed to talk.
When he's denying the other Spider-Men are in the movie.
Yeah. After they've been announced.
Oh, they're not in there. I promise. Wink.
Tom Holland's really bad at that. I don't know why they hire him for such big budget films like that are worried about spoilers. I guess like Marvel really is the only one. Marvel, DC.
I really wonder why they let him do press.
Right.
That's what I wonder. It's just Tom, you're gonna sit this press tour out.
Well, with Endgame, they sent Cumberbatch with them once. And every time they asked him a question, Cumberbatch would bump into it and like answer. Be like, well, let me tell you. Or he just put his hand over the dude's mouth.
I think there was one where he's just like, whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah. Well, I think him and Mark Ruffalo are just, I think they've learned their lesson, but I think they're kind of playing into it now too. So
yeah, I think they are playing into it a little bit. Like the whole thing with the Spider-Man 3, like the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
I'm like, it almost feels insincere at this point, like on purpose.
Yeah.
Like he's just trying to get.
The only one I really feel was like done 100% by accident was from Mark Ruffalo, when not even like the him live streaming the beginning of Thor on accident. Like that was just stupid on his part. But when he basically told the end of Infinity War before they were even like shooting the shit, like he was in an interview and he was like, oh yeah, he got really excited is what it was, and he's like, oh yeah, you should see this next one, like everybody dies. And
he says half the team's dead, and Don Cheadle's like, dude.
No, he was going to say half, and then he says everybody. He starts to say he was gonna say half, everybody dies, and then Don Cheadle's like, dude, and then he's like, you can cut that, right? Like, but they clearly didn't cut that, because I remember that interview clip going online way before Infinity War trailers even came out. I just never put two and two together.
No,
so
I don't
it's
think
a good thing too.
Did.
So yeah. So it was.
They kind of played it off like it was banter. Like they were just joking around, but looking back, it's like no,
because the way Ruffalo acted, he was like, "Oh man, am I gonna be in trouble?" He's like, "Dude, I would just stop talking about it right now for you."
Yeah, I don't know why these people are even still on press tours.
I don't even know. and it seems to only be like these like, you know, the fan movies that they end up screwing up on. It's like,
yeah,
you can't just tell me what happens in, like, you know, the ending of your what was that DuPont movie that he did, so I didn't have to go watch it because it was kind of boring.
Are you talking about Foxcatcher? The one with Steve Carell?
No. Mark Ruffalo did that one about the DuPont company in Ohio, West Virginia. Oh, I forget what the name of it was.
I'm looking.
Shit. It was it's based on a true
Dark
story.
Waters.
Dark Waters, yeah.
Oh, Dark Waters.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I was thinking of the guy DuPont who was the character in Foxcatcher. I think it's Foxcatcher. It's the Steve Carell. What's his name? Not Army Hammer.
I don't know who was in that.
Oh my god, it's the guy from 21 Drum Street.
That's
not Jonah Hill.
The not Jonah Hill.
Why can't I think of his name?
It's Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum.
Gambit.
That's it.
Brie Larson was in 21 Jump Street?
She was.
Oh yeah, she's the girl that Jonah Hill's like kind of trying to get with, but she's in high school for real, so he's not trying to get with her. Yeah.
Okay. It's been a while since I've seen those movies.
Yeah.
I really enjoy those movies though.
All right. So anyway,
yeah,
we're way off track.
Yeah, we went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. So let's go to the second dream, or not dream I guess dream sequence. She basically is going to Hydra now to get her really good witchy powers. There's not a whole lot to break down there, dude. Like,
she's thrown in a room with the Mind Stone. They're like, it keeps killing people. Should we keep doing this?
That was one of the most expository moments in like Marvel history. Just like, should we keep doing this? This keeps killing people. Obviously not. And then it blows up, and the coolest part of it is you got to see the OG Scarlet Witch costume.
Right. Yeah.
For like a second, and I thought that was cool. But other than that, I was just like,
which I really wish that like we get something later that says that's like a Scarlet Witch from an alternate universe that was within the Mind Stone or some shit like that, because that would be awesome.
I mean, we're definitely gonna get into alternate universes here.
Oh, yeah.
So it's gonna be coming either from this show, or because we got the second Doctor Strange coming up, and Doctor Strange obviously is gonna end the third Spider-Man, which doesn't have 3 Spider-Man in it.
Kind of like the Flash doesn't have like 500 Batman.
Doesn't have Cyborg.
No, like because this show is actually supposed to lead into the Multiverse of Madness. At least that's what they had said originally. But I do know that Wanda is in Multiverse of Madness, basically because she just said she was working on the movie with Sam Raimi. So you can't really. I wish they would stop telling us what's coming, so I can just watch something and be excited to be like, oh shit, this leads into this. That's awesome.
See, that's I think part of reason why I'm like so interested in this show is that I knew nothing about this show. I didn't watch any trailers for the show.
Yeah,
I didn't hear like plot summary. I didn't hear any. I just knew it was called WandaVision, and it had Scarlet Witch and Vision.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I knew about it, and I was like not even interested in watching it. I was not even excited for it. Mm-hmm. And then, but there was really just nothing else going on, so I was like, might as well watch this show so I know what's going on, and I ended up really liking it.
Yeah,
but like when you get like that, like really manufactured hype, I kind of lose interest in things.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Spider-Man film, like you said. They keep saying there's going to be these people in it, or there's not going to be these people in it. We don't know. I don't really give a shit anymore. That's not the Spider-Man movie I kind of want to see anyways, because one, they're only doing it because the Spider-Verse cartoon did really good. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, Spider-Man kind of, is guilty of killing somebody right now based on footage from the end of the last movie. So why are we not tackling that? Let me see that happen. Let me see that. I don't want to dive into the multiverse. It's going to be hard for me to get into the multiverse stuff with that film if we have this lingering like, oh, Spider-Man's a crook kind of thing going on in the background in the actual canon universe, Mm-hmm. So I want to see that resolved.
There's always a little bit of Spider-Man's a crook in every Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, but this is like footage of the guy actually saying, Spider-Man killed this guy, and then Spider-Man is Peter Parker, so now we know who he is. So it's like you gotta kind of do something about that. Let's wrap that story up somewhere, because even WandaVision is taking place before that Spider-Man movie. Mm-hmm. Because this is only a few weeks after Endgame. Spider-Man takes place months after Endgame. So that's been the biggest thing, is like, how are you going to do and then where's Falcon Winter Soldier fall in after that too? I'm like, you guys, I hope to God that they really thought through their timelines and their stories, because I know
They
Endgame
never think through their timelines.
they don't.
They just make shit and say this takes place after, this takes place
Right.
before.
Well, Endgame was like one of the like it had a cool beginning. I liked the beginning a little bit. I liked the end fight scene, but the middle was just kind of like, you're just showing me all the shit I've already
Greatest
seen.
hits.
Like it's the greatest hits basically. And that seems to be like what they did in this episode with Wanda. It's like we're going back to the Wanda's stories that we've already told you about, but we're gonna reiterate
show
it
them
to
to
you
you.
again.
Yeah.
Even okay, so after she gets the powers from the Mind Stone, where does she go? She goes to Vision's, or to her room where
Well, before we
Vision
get
has-
off that,
okay.
I was reading an article about this scene, and they're like, where she's like, it took the tiniest, was it fruit on the vine that was gonna disappear, and gave you all this extraordinary power or whatever. And this article was trying to say that they were talking about the X gene. I'm like, what led you to believe that? Because to me, it sounds like they're talking about her magical ability.
Right. Well, I also questioned, because they already say that she has like magic in her, and that's supposed to be what we're assuming helps her not die from the Infinity Stone. Then how does Quicksilver get his powers?
Yeah, that's exactly like. Does she use her magic to
Because
make it happen?
if you don't recall, Austin, from Ultron, they both are supposedly have gotten their powers from that staff. That's how they both got their powers in the movie.
I figured, but they never showed Aaron Taylor Johnson at all.
Yeah.
Which I thought they could have brought him in. He's not busy. It's like, what's Aaron Taylor Johnson doing anymore?
Yeah.
So it's like, you could have brought him in for just like a second cameo, just a little bit.
Yeah. Anything. Or they could reuse some footage of him,
Yeah. I mean, he's
already
already
from Kick-Ass.
He's already like part of the universe, so it's not such a far stretch to be like, hey, remember this guy that we killed off immediately in his only movie?
Well, you know why they did that,
Let's
right?
give him another No.
Well,
I just figured it was just lazy Marvel writing.
If you have Quicksilver,
there was a mix.
Well, if you have Quicksilver in Infinity War, Thanos wouldn't have been able to win.
Yeah, he was too
That's
overpowered.
true.
He was too
But
OP.
also, Fox was using him.
Yeah.
I guess that's true. And he could have just run really fast and grabbed all the Infinity Stones from Thanos and just be like, all right,
just taking the glove off him.
Exactly.
Of course, when you get into Infinity War, it's like, okay, Doctor Strange, you have the time stone. Why don't you just pause time like you did in your own fucking movie and take the gauntlet off the dude and then go away? Fuck off.
Scarlet Witch could have obviously killed him because she's super powerful too. So
yeah, which she almost did in Endgame by herself. But he wasn't wearing the Infinity Gauntlet at that time. In the Infinity War, when she finally fights him, he actually does have the gauntlet on, so he's more powerful, I feel. And she also wasn't suffering the loss of her love, so she also wasn't like OP either. But the thing is with Scarlet Witch is that she's not really OP, because you can literally shoot her with a gun and kill her. If you could get the bullet through to her, she can still die from a gun. Like Carol Danvers can't die from a gun necessarily. So
no one's tried though.
But there's a lot of fanboys out there that would try.
I'll kill her.
We got the better Captain Marvel coming anyways with Rambo. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with that, because she finally has her powers now.
Yeah.
She wasn't in this episode at all.
No,
she wasn't.
She hasn't been in the last 2 episodes, really.
Well, she was in the end credits scene. No, she got her powers last episode.
No, she got her powers last episode.
That's right.
And then she wasn't in this one. So she's gonna obviously play a part in this last episode. I'd hope.
I'm sure fake Pietro is gonna have her at the end of this episode or the next episode or some shit. They got a lot to cover because you have fake Pietro that everybody wants a real explanation for, not just that he's fake. And then you have Rambo to cover, and then you also have Vision, and then you have White Vision to cover now. Which they could go multiple ways with the white version of Vision because they've gone multiple ways with them in the comics. I don't want to spoil any of that for you, so I won't, Austin, just in case they choose.
I did
which
see
way
an interesting theory that I'll bring up once we get to it, but
okay. But like I was saying, like the repeat of their shit, like they do that scene with her and Vision in the past right after she lost her brother. And I mean, it kind of reminisces back to Infinity War when they were lovers and they were, just trying to cope. It was weird seeing Vision the way he was in that scene, though. I think that they didn't draw it back enough because that should have been right after he was created almost. That was just a few weeks after Vision was actually created. So he shouldn't have been so humanly at that point.
I think he was not as humanly because he was still asking like why his sitcoms were funny. It's like, oh, it's funny because he's clumsy or whatever, right? He's funny because he's
mortally
in pain.
Wounded.
Yeah. So it's like I feel like they had enough of that where it's like he's still figuring out what human is,
right?
And we got the callback to Civil War with him going through the wall instead of using the door.
Yeah, which he always did in the cartoons too. So,
I mean, if you could, it saves time. Like,
yeah,
I suppose so.
I guess. But that's the last. That's the last one we get as a throwback until we get into basically right before the show starts. When she goes to see Vision's body again, and we get a lot of that scene. Did we see any of this before, or just like the?
We saw the security footage that he altered to make it look like she burst in and stole his body.
Okay.
Yeah, we saw the scene of her breaking the glass, going into the room, and then it cuts off. It was really sadistic what Haywood did there. It's like, hey, look, it's your dead lover. We're taking him apart in front of your eyes. Why don't you get a closer look?
Well, yeah, you see his face, like he's literally smiling, like a creeper. It was weird. And he was also pushing her to be like, you can bring him back.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like, do you think he's enjoying watching her, emotional state, or do you think he's hoping she could rebuild him?
God, I hope he's part of the Hydra, so they can incorporate Hydra in here again.
I saw somebody comment that they're still holding out that Hayward is not who he seems. That he's that he somebody is pretending to be Hayward, which I would like a little bit because it would. I mean, even though they've done similar things to that in the Marvel movies, but it would make sense to why he's
he could be
being the way he is.
Yeah, he could be multiple people. Like he could just be a secret a Hydra agent again, or AIM, or any of the other bad groups. Basically, could have an agent within Sword there, and then later down the road you find out, he actually killed Rambo's mom or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Which would make him a number one target for her going into if she gets a movie or a TV show or whatever she's going to get.
Cancer in her head like ego.
Yeah, there you go. That guy's a dick. Or he could be like an evil what is it? Skrull? No. Yeah,
that would be
the Skrulls, because in the Captain Marvel movie we see just a little sect of Skrulls, which are also good, and but in the comics they they aren't really good, but it would be nice to see some bad ones for once show up in the MCU, because then they could get into the Secret Wars and all that shit later down the line. So
Tivis turned into a cat.
yeah, he went to go get his girl up. Or sorry, his wife, not his girl. Don't want her hearing that and thinking he's got a girl.
His side piece.
That's me. No, so it'll be nice to actually get some redemption, to see him be somebody other than who he says he is, of course. So,
or he's just a really shitty director. I don't know, maybe.
Right.
But I like the idea that there's going to be a reveal of that character too.
If the last episode they come in and bring Sam Jackson in as a replacement director, I'll be kind of like, it'll be cool, but then it's kind of like, oh, again, really? Like, why?
I don't think they're gonna do that.
I hope they don't.
I hope they do.
I don't. It would explain a little bit of him on the spaceship at the end of Spider-Man, but no, I hope they don't. So,
I don't think they will, but I think it's too obvious for one.
Yeah.
But
A lot of the things that everyone says are like way too obvious, or except for Agatha, people called that out a while back. But there's been a lot of things that just seem that like they could be way too obvious.
One of the coolest things I read after this episode, when I'm still kind of learning who like Agatha Harkness was and like the link to things, is there was that one Dottie or whatever in that one episode. I think it was episode 2 or 3. I can't remember which one it was.
Two.
Where there was a lot of references to like the devil and stuff like that, and she was obviously like a very commanding person. That character is actually like Mephisto or something like that. And I'm like, that's an interesting theory, because I mean there was a lot of very ham-fisted like references to the devil.
I would actually really like that if that character was, because she also played Anna in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, who is also a demon. So it would be like a fan thing. So yeah.
So I was like, I thought that was an interesting theory. And again, I didn't know who Mephisto was, so I had to look up that.
He's basically
every listeners who's like, my knowledge of Marvel stems mainly from movies and TV shows. So.
Did you see Ghost Rider? Because he was in that.
I did see Ghost Rider a long time ago. I didn't necessarily enjoy it.
Well, Mephisto is basically just the Marvel's version of the devil.
Yeah,
essentially, like that's what he is. So I don't know if they'll go there. If they do, they're not gonna do the character justice, because they'll kind of dumb it down, which then takes away from
Dormammu.
Dormammu. Well, Dormammu they tricked. Okay, chill out with that.
He trolled him.
But Mephisto, like if you're having a devil-like character, you need to make them really bad, and I don't think that Marvel is in the position that they will do that with these characters anyways.
At least not on this.
Otherwise you're basically you're dumbing down evil, and I don't know. To me that just seems like a bad thing to do.
Anyone who wants to check out some really dark, like good horror Marvel aspects, check out Hellstrom, the last technically MCU, even though there's no connections.
But it's the last Marvel TV.
Yeah.
Before they went to Marvel Studios.
And I'm really sad they canceled that, because it actually is a really good look into the dark, like demonic type world that Marvel has. And I would have liked them to have at least continued the story and saw it out with Ghost Rider and all that, because it's something that we don't really get with the main Disney stuff because of their main audience.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna get more into adults themed comic stories in a while, because now that they have to do Deadpool, they're gonna have to do that as a rated R thing, because there's no way to do Deadpool PG-13.
Same with Blade. I don't want to see a Blade PG-13. Like, that would be stupid.
So and once you get into Blade, you're getting into the more occult, Marvel stuff. I mean, there's very occult things in Blade. So I think that opens the door for things like Ghost Rider. And especially if it is true that Mephisto is going to be the next big bad, like,
you need people like Ghost Rider and shit like that to show up.
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
I would love for the one from Agents to come back, but we do know there's more than one because of that show. So
Robbie Reyes is what his name was, right?
Yeah, he was the one who was supposed to come back for the dark
shows.
Yeah, the Ghost Rider for the Hulu series, but
yeah, I don't know. Marvel. I'm not gonna say Disney. Marvel needs to figure out how they're gonna do their dark stuff. I know they have Hulu that they can put all that stuff on, but in other countries,
in other countries,
in other countries they're breaking it down on Disney Plus and just having like an adult kind of content section there, so you can watch Mickey Mouse bang Minnie Mouse, or no, wrong adult content, Michael. So you can watch like your Deadpools and shit like that. So it'll be interesting to see what they do moving forward with their dark stuff. But I do feel that if they bring Mephisto in, they shouldn't dull him down just for their child audience, because one, that doesn't do any good for your child audience, seeing like almost pure evil incarnate. Not really evil, you know what I mean?
Some of the most fucked up things I've read in Marvel are because of Mephisto. Like, people think it's so happy, colorful compared to DC. No, there's some really messed up stuff they do in these stories.
Yeah,
I think a lot of Marvel people, the vision of Marvel that the people have is painted by the Disney-fied version of Marvel.
Yeah,
because there is some like really dark, gritty stuff that Marvel has done in the past, but the audience that the Disney-owned Marvel has been aiming at is more shiny and colorful and easily digestible.
Disney's trying to make their Marvel universe into a family oriented universe, so they can sell more toys, so they can sell more, everything. You get more tickets if you can take your kids to the movie rather than going to see Deadpool, even though Deadpool did really good. So
I get appeal to the wider audience, but then like don't cancel the side stuff that can dive into this, the stuff that people don't need to watch to get the bigger picture. It's just like, hey, here's some fun extra stuff you can travel down if you want to.
But that's the problem with connected universe stuff, is that the connected universe has to
connect.
Exactly. It has to have the same tone. It has to have the same audience. Otherwise, if a segment of your audience can't watch the rated R stuff, and it connects with the universe, then I would takes away from the stuff. And then what if Deadpool appears in an Avengers movie? Will he say fuck in an Avengers movie?
They would bleep it, and then he could remark on it being bleeped. That's what they would do. And that would actually be funny, because he would still be breaking the fourth wall to be like, are you kidding me? They effing bleeped me? And,
that's why I think a PG-13 could have worked, but I didn't want it.
Well, I've seen the PG-13 version of Deadpool. It's okay, but it's not as good as the rated R one.
Because he does appear in regular, the regular Avengers that people, the bigger audience does read, and
Yeah.
they do tone him down, and he does remark on it.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's self-aware of everything going on. He would be the only character that understands why he's being doled down for an Avengers film, which is awesome. As long as they play into it. If they don't play into it, then it's kind of stupid. Then it's not a Deadpool. Then it's just another character in the Marvel movies.
I would say it's kind of like Wolverine. I mean, he's a big fan favorite. Many kids like him, but there are certain comics where he is just a murder machine.
Yeah. As long as the thing too about the Deadpool films, I don't want Disney to give them like $200 million to make a fucking movie, like keep the budgets low like they had before, because those movies have been good so far. So that's just me on that. But as far as like the dark stuff, like with family and stuff, I would say some of the episodes of WandaVision aren't really necessarily great for all kids of all ages.
No. Oh God, that Dead Vision theme.
The Dead Vision view, like whatever. Kids have costumes; they know what dead looks like. You see Jesus hanging on the cross all the time in your church. In some churches, there's blood coming off of him. They can see a dead vision. Who cares about that?
The Halloween episode of WandaVision, there were like 3 different times where I was legitimately like super creeped out.
Okay, tell me.
Like at the end when Vision is going through like the outskirts, when everyone's kind of just like robotically doing like the same thing.
Yep.
And like when he gets to then Agnes and talks to her, and she gets like that blood curdling like laugh and stuff like that. There were like moments like that where I'm like, that is like legitimate like horror movie scary stuff, as opposed to like just like a creepy Marvel thing. It was like that is like that's some messed up shit.
And you got the people that are actually like there's tears running down their face.
Yeah,
too.
like she's like hanging something on a clothesline over and over again or something like that, and there's just one tear going down her face. I'm like, dude, this is intense.
Crazy. What are the other 2 moments?
I'm trying to remember now.
I know they have this spot where Pietro is all shot up.
Yeah, that was one because it was like a jump scare kind of thing, like a quick cut to him, and he's like all bloody and like shot up and dead. That was I was texting my brother about it just a second.
Well, I know. I don't know. I there's just elements of this that aren't great for their main demographic of all the other movies generally. But I mean, when people tell me that these Marvel movies are made 100% for kids, I'm like, they literally cut off Thanos's head. and not only did they cut his head off, they let his daughter wipe blood off of his cut off head. His severed head. She's touching it and like wiping blood off of it. I'm like, just because it's CG doesn't mean it's not fucked up when you think about it, guys. Like, Marvel has their moments; they're just hidden between gloss. So, I don't know. What was the other moment?
It was mostly just the outer stuff. There's the shot of the shot up Pietro. Everything with Agnes, I thought was like super creepy. And just the whole edge of the town creepiness. Those were like that. The end of that episode, I was like, that was actually pretty creepy.
I was kind of tearing up in that episode when Vision was being pulled apart. I was like, this is fucking sad if they kill him right now with a couple episodes left. I was like, oh no. So yeah, it was a interesting episode for sure.
Did you guys get through the rest of it?
Through the rest of the last episode? No. So back to the last episode. Okay. We have they basically, he forces Wanda's hand to go down and look at Vision, and she notices Vision's not he's just not there. He's dead. like basically what everyone has been telling her, and she just dips off. So
I got super like sad when she's like touching his head and she's like, I can't feel you.
Yeah. Well, she's a
I was
great
like,
fucking actress, dude. Like,
oh, that was incredible moment.
yeah. Yeah,
Well,
Elizabeth Olsen is like such a great actress. So much better than her sisters.
Fucking asshole kept referring to him at, reactivate or,
The Vision.
reassemble. Yeah, as like a machine.
Yeah.
Like,
well, he was doing I feel he was doing it on purpose to push her. But then she goes into her car and there's a paper in there. Also, why don't the Avengers have better cars? Like, come on. Like they saved the world.
Yeah, she's got like a Toyota Camry or some shit. It's like not a
maybe she doesn't want anything flashy.
Well, maybe Tony Stark should have donated each one of his cars to each member of the Avengers team that's left on Earth.
They went into the ocean when Mandarin bombed his house.
Yeah, but he had a whole nother house 5 years later, bro. You telling me Tony Stark didn't buy more cars? Come on.
Yeah.
The dude built more suits. He could buy more cars. He was probably keeping the economy strong during those 5 years. Oh, he was the only one doing it. But yeah, she goes and we see Westview, and as she's driving through Westview, we see everybody who's like very sad. They all look very sad. So which always makes me wonder if what she's doing is actually helping them, and then the only like the panic of them or the sadness of them that we've seen throughout the show already has been caused by Agatha and not Wanda. So
well, that's kind of what I was wondering, because I started to think about all the moments when they never specifically mention Wanda.
Right.
They always are like, she's doing this.
She.
And it's very like, and at that point you're made to believe that it's all Wanda, because after third episode, even Rambo comes out and goes, it's all Wanda.
Right.
And then so every time Vision hypnotizes somebody and they start freaking out and they're like, she's doing this, it's agonizing. They never say Wanda's doing this.
Right.
So but after that, so I was like, I started to think that way also of, okay, this is actually Agnes who's causing a lot of the agony of this.
Also, Darcy's in there, and she didn't say anything about who's controlling her mind when Vision let her go.
That's true.
She wasn't in there for very long, though.
Still, she should have known something about it, because Rambo said that she realized it when her mind was open. So, but yeah, and where the fuck is Darcy at this whole time? Or Vision?
Still stuck on the road.
They're both gone. No, Vision flew up in the air and dipped out. He should have been over to their house by now. It's only a whole episode later. Yeah. Which I'm sure we'll see him show up or something in the next episode.
Yeah,
of course,
I assume where we left off is him showing up.
Yeah. So before we get to the very end, we see her like basically flipping out. She gets to a piece of property that Vision supposedly Vision. We don't know if it's 100%, because this is WandaVision, everybody. We don't know who bought this piece of property and wrote the note or anything. Supposedly Vision bought this piece of property where they're sort of building a house in a neighborhood that looked like there's been houses there since the 60s anyways. And yet there's no house on this one piece of property. So she goes there and gets pissed off basically from all of her loss, and does this weird blast that basically creates everything that we've seen. And we finally see that she didn't actually steal Vision's body and using him as a puppet, rather he comes out of her, which then I question, is he real? Is he not real? Can he be real? Like, what are we doing? Like,
which is why I'm interested to see how this thing ends, because I don't know. The Marvel movies have done Wanda very dirty. I feel like everybody she's loved has died. And
Yeah,
I feel like
go on.
I feel like if we kill off Vision permanently, it'd be kind of shitty unless there's some emotional resolution to this. But I just think like, she doesn't have anybody. Her brother's dead, her parents are dead.
Well, that's why she's
the love of her life,
dude. Come on.
The love of her life's dead. It's like, why? I don't know.
Her family's dismantled.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what state are we gonna leave Wanda in at the end of this?
Right.
It's a curious thought.
So
especially after the actress that plays Agatha, said that it's a sad ending. I'm like, are they gonna make her sad sack Wanda for the rest of her existence?
It'll be interesting because they've done the same thing to Thor. Thor's lost his home, his father, his mother, his brother,
but he at least has
everything.
Jane's coming back, and
he lost his love already. We don't know if they're getting back together.
That's
he
true.
Lost her. So he's literally lost everything, including half of the universe to Thanos the first time around. So for 5 years, that's why he's a drunk mess. He just doesn't have the power to, bring anybody back to life like she does. So she's basically become the Marvel's female version of Thor, like what they've been doing to Thor this whole time. There's no other two characters in the Marvel universe that I've seen yet that have lost so much and have had to still stay strong on the battlefield. It's crazy to see it happen. It's just crazy. Like, you could say Captain America lost like all of his friends and shit because he got frozen, but
he at least got Bucky. He got Bucky back.
And 2, he went back in time to spend time with his love. And 3, it was his own fucking choice to go down that plane. He could have jumped out. He's a superhuman. Fuck off. Like, autopilot that bitch and you could have been fine. Like, anyway, that's an exaggeration.
No, but I agree. I always hate when characters get the raw deal the entire time, and I always feel like in the end, usually they'll be better for it. Like something good will come of it. That's why my theory with Game of Thrones was always, I thought Sansa Stark was going to end up on the throne at the end of Game of Thrones, because that character went through hell.
Did you watch that whole show?
I didn't, but I kind of paid attention to it. Like I know what happens, but I stopped after like season 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I always thought, like, for how much shit they put that character through, I bet some way she ends up on the throne at the end, because there's no way you put somebody through that much hell and then she just dies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
going back to her creating Vision real quick, we actually kind of got foreshadowed with that when he was talking to Darcy, and she was telling him how he used to be Jarvis and all this, and he's like, I don't remember this. It's because all of his memories are basically her memories of him.
Yeah, because she didn't know he was a computer program. She only met him as the Vision.
Yeah.
So, and yes, I'm going to say the Vision because that's what his name is in the comics. The Vision. So after all that's created, then we see pull out. They're in a studio, basically. Agatha's there clapping, then fucking disappears. And then we hear the kids screaming, and Wanda runs outside. Because apparently now it was weird because we were in the past, but now she's like perfectly in the present in her own house when she wasn't in their house to begin with. Okay. Anyways,
magic.
So she runs out to the street, and there's Agatha floating in the air, looking different, a lot different. Like, whatever makeup job they did on her did not look good. I think the actress looks a lot better in the other way of makeup. Maybe did they change her hair color in this image here I got behind me?
I think they changed her hairstyle for sure,
and definitely did something to her eye makeup.
Yeah, and it looks more stagey.
Yeah, it definitely does, and it looks like they did something with her cheekbones as well. It doesn't look good, but maybe they're just trying to get her prepared for whatever they're gonna do in the next episode. Who knows? But she's there using her powers on Wiccan and Zoom or Speed. Sorry, I don't know why I said Zoom. That's Flash. Holding the two kids in place, and Wanda's out there and like, let my kids go, blah 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 blah, talking.
You're the Scarlet Witch.
You're the Scarlet Witch. Or no, she says you're using chaos magic. That means you're the Scarlet Witch. And then we end.
Which was a myth in her family.
Yeah.
In 1693.
1693. Yeah. So it's interesting to see how they do that. Are we going to keep the Scarlet Witch name? That would be awesome to see. So yeah, I don't really have much on that part. And then of course we get the mid-credit scene of them booting on White Vision. And I don't really want to talk a lot about that because there's comic book knowledge on it.
Yeah, I know possibly nothing about this.
Yeah, there's comic book knowledge that could potentially ruin what comes next in the next episode, so I don't want to talk about it, especially if you guys don't know any of that stuff. So
yeah, I don't, but I would like to talk about some of the stuff we've seen in the MCU universe that could potentially pop up. Okay. I mean, we know that Vision's body was originally meant for Ultron, so I'm a bit worried they brought Ultron back.
Well, he has Ultron's DNA within his computing system too. He is Ultron, Jarvis, and Tony Stark, and
Mark
Ruffalo all together. So yeah. So if they brought Ultron back online, my God, that would be awesome. But I don't think they did that.
That would be cool to get James Spader back for that too.
No, fuck off with his voice.
I love James Spader for that.
No,
it would be jarring to see it coming out of his face, but
yeah, it'd be so good.
It was not menacing enough to be Ultron. Oh man, no.
And it would explain why they're constantly trying to get us to watch Age of Ultron when the show's over.
Right. Yeah.
Which I will not do, because I don't like Age of Ultron.
Every episode, here's Age of Ultron, bro. I know that movie. I've seen it. You guys kind of ruined it though, because they didn't do justice to Ultron in that film, I think. And when they did not. And then when they called it Age of Ultron, I thought it was gonna be like something completely different. I really thought it was gonna be on
I think everybody did
and everything. So
I think everybody did. And the trailer made him look so threatening and stuff like that. Like the trailer for that movie, I remember when it came out, I was like, oh, this is gonna be sweet.
Yeah.
And like James Spader had that like his low rumbly voice that he's got, and I'm like, this is gonna be great. And then it's just like, all right, he was just pretty much a standard Marvel villain. There was nothing particularly interesting or threatening about what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being incredibly disappointed by it.
Oh my God.
What's up?
I'm gonna bring this up because it's gonna be my quote.
Okay.
But let's finish up and then I'll do my quote to get out of here. I know Tivis has got to go do some stuff. So Austin, thank you for coming on, dude.
No problem.
I hope you enjoy. Yeah, I hope you really enjoy coming on. We can get you on again, maybe next week actually, to talk about this, because we're not talking WandaVision with John because he hasn't watched any of it yet. And I don't want to spoil any of that shit. So if you want to come on for episode 9's talk through, and if Tivis is able to do it next week, let's try and get you on. If you want, just let me know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I I think that we will all either be very excited or very pissed off about the final episode, depending on what they do.
Yeah, there's no middle ground, I feel, with Marvel. You're either okay with the way something has ended or you're just not. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and let everyone else know, all the listeners, since I didn't do it at the beginning of the episode, you can find us online at Operation Babble on Twitter and Facebook, and you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/operationbabble, which we just uploaded. Mine, Tivis, and John all did trailer reactions to the Zack Snyder Justice League.
The trailer that came out
the last
2 weeks ago now.
That came out. So those are finally up on Patreon. Let us know what you think on those. And
aren't you launching a new YouTube channel sometime in the near future?
Yes, I am. Once I get it all set up, I will talk about that. Thank you for spoiling. Haha.
You can cut that bit out.
All right.
Or leave it as a bit of sizzle.
Tivis, what did you think?
I liked it.
All right. Austin, I appreciate you coming on, man. We'll get you back on again. I hope you had fun.
I did. Always do.
Do you got anything to pitch to anybody? I know you were on.
Yeah, I do actually.
Okay.
My here in Ohio, I have my best friend owns a recording studio, and every week we do a live stream concert with local area musicians.
Okay.
So I film it. My best friend is a voodoo wizard when it comes to audio. So we do a high quality stream every Thursday, 7:00 Eastern time. You can find us on Facebook. If you just look up Bigfoot Studios, the notifications when we go live. We go on YouTube. We stream on Twitch, and it's twitch.tv/Bigfoot_studios. So you can follow us on any of those if you want to help support musicians who obviously in this time aren't doing a whole lot. And we offer a cool venue for musicians to get out, play, have an audience without the danger of the world right now. So yeah, it's cool. We also have a Patreon. So if you guys like what you see and you want to donate to us, you can find us on Patreon. We got a couple different levels of things that you can support. There's a video trailer for that too, if you're interested.
Which you put together too, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, if you send me the links, I'll definitely put them in our descriptions and shit of like the Twitch, the Facebook, and the Patreon.
Absolutely.
And do they have a website or no?
We don't have a website yet. No,
okay.
we're just solely going off of social media stuff right now.
All right. Well, yeah, just send those to me, and I'll get those in the description for everybody.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming on, man. All right. So my quote of the day is going to be from WandaVision episode 8. And after I read this aloud in my head, I should say, it made me think about the entire series. So from Wanda, episode 8, by the end of the episode, you realize it was all a bad dream. None of it was real.
Oh no, don't wish that into existence. Don't do that. I cannot handle that.
That's gonna be the end of episode 9.
I also I'm with Tivis on that one. If that ends that way, I'll be pissed.
All right, guys. Later. Peace.
You just finished another great episode of Operation Babble. You can catch every episode of Operation Babble on all your audio streaming services, including SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public, and more. Don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/OperationBabble and join the conversation today by searching for the Operation Babble group on Facebook. Links also in the description. Thanks and have a great day.